Assalamualaikum to Madam Shahida binti Hassan. We are from Group 4. Would like to present our SQL project Cooking Recipe Portal. I am Qistina IWANI binti Azmi, metric number 279445. I would like to present the business rule and ERD. Our ERD contains 5 main entities, which are user, diet, feedback, recipe, and ingredients. The recipe entity is the superclass to sweet and savory. The constraint is mandatory all. One user can choose one diet. One diet can be chosen by many users. One user can give many feedback, and one feedback can be made by one user. Next, one diet can select many recipes sweet, and one recipe sweet can be selected by one diet. One diet can select many recipes savory, and one recipe savory can be selected by one diet. Many ingredients can be display many recipes sweet. Many ingredients can be display many recipes savory. Many recipes sweet will receive one feedback, and many recipes savory will receive one feedback.
Next, I will explain the relationship between the table. So we can see it in the relational model and ERD part. After that, we can see the multiplicity of users and diet is one to many. So the primary key from table diet will go to table users to be the foreign key. So the foreign key is for users is diet type references table diet. Next, the relationship between user and feedback is one to many also. So the primary key from user will go to table feedback to be their foreign key references table user. After that, the relationship between diet and recipe is also one to many. So because of that, the primary key from diet will go to table recipe to be the foreign key references table diet. After that, the relationship between recipe and feedback is also one to many. Because of that, the primary key from table recipe, which is recipe savory and recipe sweet, will go to table feedback to be the foreign key references table recipe savory and recipe sweet. Last but not least is the relationship between table ingredients and recipe sweet and recipe savory. So the relationship is many to many. So we need to create new tables which are ingredient recipe sweet and ingredient recipe savory. Then for table ingredient recipe sweet, the primary key will be ingredient ID and recipe ID. Then for the foreign key are ingredient ID references table ingredient and recipe ID references table recipe sweet. And for the table ingredient recipe savory, the primary key is also ingredient ID and recipe ID, and the foreign key are ingredient ID references table ingredients and recipe ID references table recipe savory.
Hi, my name is MUHAMAD HAIKAL by JUBRI, number metric 279881. So I will explain about the queries and output. So for the first queries, we create the table diet, and second is we create the table recipe sweets. Next is table recipe savory. Next, next is table ingredients, table users. Next, table ingredient recipe sweets. Next is table ingredient recipe savory. Table feed, and the last one is a table feedback. So I will pass to the next presenter for the alter table.
For the next query is alter any table. We alter from table diet, which we add column price meal, and the auto table statement is used to add, delete or modify columns in an existing table. The auto table statement is also used to add and drop various constraints on an existing table.
So the next is insert the all data. First, we insert the data for the diet, which is diet types and the diet meals. Second, we insert the data for ingredients, which is ingredient ID, ingredient names, and the diet meals. Next, we insert the data for recipe suites, which is recipe ID, sweetness level, and the diet type. Next, we insert the data for the recipe savory, which is recipe ID, spiciness level, and the diet types. The next one is we insert the data for the users, which is the user ID, username, user password, and the diet types. Next is we insert the data for the feedback, which is comment numbers, ratings, user ID, uh, recipe recipe suite ID, and the recipe server ID. Next is we insert the data for ingredients recipe suite, which is ingredient ID and recipe ID. Next is we insert the data for the ingredient recipe savory, which is ingredient same recipe ingredient ID and the recipe ID. So here is our output for the diet, ingredients, recipe suite, recipe savory, users, ingredient recipe suite, ingredient recipe savory, and the last one is the feedback. So the next queries is update any data. This function is to modify the existing records in the tables. So for owner to edit the data. So example is we put the new queries like select all from diets and we get this result. And after we update the data like update diet, set diet meals to nulls, and we get the second result, which is all the result is null for the diet meals. Next, I will pass to the next presenter.
Next is the query for views. For view 1 is table savory meals. This table is needed for seeing which recipe ID and diet type are in each spiciness level. The owner can also see what meal is in what level. As we can see, recipe ID R123 is in level 1 spiciness level, and the diet type is paleo, which have ginger carrot soup as meal. Next view 2 is table sweet meals. This table also to see which recipe ID and diet type are in each sweetness level. The owner can also see what meals is in what level. As an example, recipe ID R121 is in level 1 of sweetness level, and the diet type is gluten-free, which have bunless burgers with grilled corn as meal. Next view is table diet ingredients, where the table will list out all diet type together with their meals, also with the ingredient ID and name. This is for the owner to know which ingredient belongs to which meals. And last view is table user diet. In this table, the owner can see the user that choose what diet type, then the meals that are suitable for their diet. As shown in the table, a user which have AB123 ID, name IWANI, chose paleo as diet type, and diet meals for paleo is ginger carrot soup. And next query is drop view. It is used to drop an existing table in the database. The information about the view is deleted from system catalog. Next, I will pass to the next presenter.
So next is subqueries. For the subqueries, we select diet meals and ingredients from table ingredients. So the owner can see the report about the types of diet meals and their ingredients. Then the owner can also know about the ingredients that they need to cook their diet meals. Next, queries. We select the spiciness level and diet type from table recipe savory. So the owner can know about the spiciness level for the diet type that they choose. Then we also select the sweetness level and diet type for recipe sweet. So the owner can also know about the level of sweetness of their diet type. Last but not least, is we select the diet meals and diet type from table diet, so the owner can know their meals for their diet type.
Okay, next is the next queries is to create the multi-table queries. So for the first multi-table queries is we make a user feedback. So for this table, we select the user ID, username from user, and comments number and rating from the feedback, from the table feedbacks, where user ID equal to user ID. So this is the result. So and the second multi-table queries is we make is diet ingredients. So we combines the diet table and the ingredient tables and select the diet types and diet meals from the table diets with the ingredient ID and ingredient name from the ingredient tables. So here is the result. Next. So next is multi-table query. The third multi-table queries is a user savory recipe. So we select the user ID, username from the table user, and with the combined with the recipe ID, spiciness level, and diet type from the recipe table. So here is the result. And the last multi-table queries we combine is diet sweet recipe. We select the diet type, diet meals from the diet tables with the recipe ID and sweetness level from the table recipe. So here is the result. So I will pass to for the next presenter.
The last query is aggregate function. The first one is maximum. This query is to let the owner know how many ingredients are in the table. As shown in the output, the maximum ID is I018. Next one is minimum. This query is to show the minimum ID in the ingredients table. As shown in the output, the minimum ID is I001. Next is count. This query is to count the total of tomato ingredient which have in diet meals chopped tomato according to the amount of meals that the user have chosen. And lastly is also count. It is to count the total diet type of vegan that are chosen by the users. That's all from me.
That's all from our group. Thank you.